Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle. I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Mr. Michael Hall. Reed, the feminine side of this podcast, will not be joining us for this episode. He forgot his headphones, of course. But the title of tonight's episode is Knuck If You Buck. Heading into the first game of the season, going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com. But we are rejoined by friend of this podcast, Mr. Coach Greg Curl. Coach, how are you doing, man? It's been a while.
I'm good, brothers. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad football season is getting ready to start back up.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure it's going to be much easier to be able to watch it over there in LA. How are you guys feeling about your season this year?
Feeling pretty good, man. Feeling pretty good. Everybody looking pretty good, you know. Just waiting to get it started, man. We'll see Sunday night. I mean, we got one of our biggest tests, game one, you know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I saw that you guys are playing Detroit, and so that's a hard matchup. But man, the Rams are stacked, to say the least. It's kind of weird to think about the Rams without Aaron Donald at this point, but I think Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp have kind of helped with that, along with Cam. Coach, I want to ask you, you know, how the summer has been, how it's transitioned from being with Washington. I'm sure it's got to be kind of weird.
It's different. It's different. It's been a little bit more busier because so much things have happened since the move. You know, I don't know if you guys saw, but Cameron launched his own clothing brand, athletic sportswear, and he got, you know, more endorsements going on. So it's been a busy summer, you know, with him being in LA, and you know, the move, getting used to everything going and getting used to some new rivals, you know. I still got my same, you know, hate on some teams I ain't gonna mention today.
Yeah, we don't need to mention them. They can stay down there and do what they do. You know, just you gotta tell Cam, he's got to hit up Kanye and say, hey man, I need you to design some of my wardrobe. Got to get these sales popping. You know what I'm saying, Coach?
Yeah.
Hey, and I wanted to, before we get into like fan questions and other things like that, I did want to like go through each game this season and kind of get our predictions for these games, Coach. If you're down for that, Hall, are you cool with that? I'm not sure if you've seen the matchups. I know it's been kind of busy lately.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy to me that there's a game on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah,
dude, that's kind of based, bro.
So. They should do that more often, honestly.
Yeah, you know, I'm just an uneducated mouth breather. I just love football, you know.
Yes.
I'm not much of a drinker anymore, but, you know, I still partake sometimes.
I am high school educated.
Yeah, 1 for 1, my friend. Now, this one, the Ravens versus the Chiefs tomorrow night, Thursday night football. Super Bowl champs are here. Hall, how do you think this game is going to go?
Yeah, honestly, what better game to kick it off with than a rematch of the AFC Championship last year? Two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL going against each other. Two of the top teams coming into the year in the NFL. Obviously, the Chiefs are always at the top. But two of the top teams in the AFC, and I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Ravens are, even though they're going to downplay, I think they're out for a little bit of revenge because I feel like they think that they know that they got away from what they are best at and what they did all season last year in that game against the Chiefs. And I think that the addition of Derrick Henry coming in there with the running game is going to help them out a lot. And I think that it's going to be a close game. Obviously, it's going to be one of those games that comes down to last 2 minutes of the game, you know, maybe last drive or two of the game. And I think that I want to say the Chiefs are going to win because I don't want to ever bet against Pat Mahomes, but I just feel like the Ravens are going to be coming out. This is like their mini Super Bowl going into this game. I feel like week 1 season opener, and I feel like they're going to pull a close one out. Maybe what's the kicker's name again?
Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker, maybe a Justin Tucker field goal at the end of the game to win it. So I got the Ravens winning a close one.
How do you forget the tuck, man? What
I
about you,
just
Coach?
literally, I knew it was Tucker, but I was like, it's not Michael Tucker. I'm like,
Yeah.
He's got that serial killer stare. He's about it. What about you, Coach? How do you think this game's gonna go?
On that one, you know what? I'm like you, Hall. Every time I bet against Patrick Mahomes, he gets me every time. But I see Baltimore winning this one because it's going to be the first look at a Derrick Henry back in the backfield. It's going to be the first look. Can I stack 8 in the box to try to contain Lamar? Or we're going to have to deal with both of them. And unfortunately, ain't nobody had a chance to game plan against that yet. I ain't taking nothing away from Kansas City's defense, but I think Baltimore is going to get away with that, having that workhorse in there like that. Now I got 2 people in the backfield I got to worry about, busting on me. And I think it's going to take some adjustment to get to in the first game of the season. I don't think Kansas will be ready for that. And Kansas usually always starts off kind of slow. They start the season off kind of slow. It's just not like they just ever come out just busting people in the mouth right out the back. They like to get counted out midway through the season and then start spanking everybody. So I'm gonna give Baltimore this one.
Yeah, it's like a visual representation of Andy Reid getting off the couch, and it's a little slow at first, but once they get up and walking, dude, they're running
Yeah.
over people. You know what I'm saying, Coach? Yeah, like it's funny because with Kansas City, I put a lot of stock in Vegas, and I think Vegas kind of looks at this as an opportunity in a way. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this one because, like you said, the Chiefs typically come out week one and they don't do all that well, but they end up finishing the season really well. But I think the Ravens are one of the most not improved teams, but they really added some weapons to the chamber on both sides of the ball, and I
Yes.
think they're very well put together, and they're one of those teams that can rival with Kansas City. I just don't think I'm just not sure if it comes down to the final possession with like Pat Mahomes and Lamar, like I can't count out Pat Mahomes in that regard. You know what I mean? Like he just somehow, it doesn't matter if you only have 20 seconds on the clock, he's able to get some points scored.
depends who has the ball last.
Well, that's true, but what I'm saying is like I think if the Ravens are going to win, it's going to be by a possession or two, like a
Right.
30-20 type of game. Maybe some turnovers happen, fumbles from running backs on the Kansas City, something of that nature. But I do think the Ravens win this game, and it's unfortunate because I don't want to go against Andy and Pat, but dude, that's just the way I see it going. But Coach, before we get into the next game, sir, I do want to ask you. Yeah, I want to ask you about Washington and now that you are objective, sitting on the outside looking at Washington, are no more burgundy glasses, obviously that I get accused of having, not so much of Hall. But how do you think Washington has done in the offseason?
It kind of I don't know. It kind of went away from what I think everybody was saying in the beginning because it do look like it's a retooling season. To me, I mean, just seeing some of the moves that they made, I think they done okay. I'm excited to see what Jayden Daniels and McLaurin, this new hookup, gonna be like. They didn't had the whole off season together and everything. Uh,
And trading away
I
Jahan, crazy.
Yeah, I kind of question the wide receiver room a little bit. Getting away, get rid of Jahan. I thought Jahan was pretty good wide receiver. Um, I'm kind of, and I was on the whole Dan Quinn train when they was looking for coaches. I thought Dan Quinn would be a good coach. I just like the way he coached defense. Even though Dallas couldn't, stop the run that much, but Dan Quinn is a pretty good defensive coach. So I wanted to see what this defense was going to look like under him being the head coach, and I'm kind of intrigued to see what it's going to be and how much influence he's going to have on the defense. Coming forward, but so I'm kind of intrigued to see that. I don't have too much worry in Washington's offense. I think the offense is going to get to moving finally,
Hmm.
but
Is that because of Jayden?
yeah, of course. Having that guy, who's starting from the get go, who's your quarterback. He's been working with the ones. Jayden looked good, in college. I know this is a whole different level, but have been that threat to that dual threat quarterback, and I seen him make some very nice throws, some very nice decisions. But when you got Terry McLaurin, you just throw it in his area. If he can touch it, he can catch it. So
Like
I'm,
Reed at
I'm
a truck
excited to
stop.
see what that's gonna look like.
You're absolutely right, Coach. I appreciate you for gassing us up a little bit, man. We need it going into this game against the Bucks.
Hey, I don't wish no ill will. I wish much success for Washington. Y'all don't have to come see us.
Yeah,
Y'all don't have to
Mhm.
play us.
it's true. I
So
don't.
hey, win every game except for the one y'all have to play against us.
That's true. That's right. I feel the same way, and I'm pissed off in my fantasy draft this weekend. Duke took Cooper Cup in front of me, and it would
Oh
do.
wow.
Coach, it was so funny because we did it through Zoom, and so Hall's little brother is in the league with us, and so Hall's little brothers who joined the Zoom call with his phone, and so we have it up there on the screen picking or whatever, and the guy takes Cooper Cup right in front of me. And I was pissed, and so I had to go with wide receiver. So I picked Brandon Ayuk, and I have been very against Washington trading for Brandon Ayuk, and all I hear in the background is faces of Hall just making fun of me. I was like, dude, I had to. I didn't want to. Blame him for taking Cooper in front of me. But coach, this next matchup, the Green Bay Packers going against Green Bay Packers going against the Philadelphia Eagles on Friday Night Lights. How do you think that game's gonna go?
Philly. I think Philly gonna take that one. I'm Philly. I think got something going on up there. Will they be this powerhouse and win the division and all that? I don't know yet, but I got Philly winning this one probably by at least 10 points.
And Green Bay just paid their quarterback Jordan Love a heck of a whole lot. They added Josh Jacobs to that backfield. I think Green Bay is not going to be an easy slouch to get out of. I think this could be one of the chinks in the armor for Philly because obviously they added to their DB room. Well, let's see how they are about stopping the run. Obviously,
Yes.
they just lost Devin White, who I think got not on IR. Was it Pup? He got put on something. I'm not sure if Pup
Nah,
has.
he's just out for this week. It's just
Oh,
like a
okay, just
hamstring or
out for this
something like
week.
that.
But they got N'Kobe Dean starting, who they drafted not too long ago. They're thrusting in there. Let's see how they are against the run in this aspect to help Jordan Love out. I do think the Eagles squeak it out, but it's the Eagles, man. They somehow find a way. But I'll say like 24-21. I think the Packers do take it.
Okay.
Oh, you think the Packers win it?
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna go Eagles.
I'm not picking the Eagles. No, I'm not
Nah, I
gonna.
feel you. I think this is gonna be another close game. I think that like you talked about, the addition of Josh Jacobs, even though Aaron Jones is obviously a really good running back, I think Josh Jacobs is just like another tier above him, and he's gonna help that passing game out with those young wide receivers that have been growing with Jordan Love since the beginning. And I think that even though I hate to say it, Philly's offense is going to be a problem this year. They just added Saquon Barkley, and with that offensive line blocking for Saquon in front of him, I think he's going to do for a big year. And yeah, I think that we'll see what happens with Jordan Love and these wide receivers versus Philly's cornerbacks in the secondary. That was their weakness last year. And I know they made some moves in the draft, and uh, what's it called? They have Slay on their Darius Slay as well, who's still a pretty good cornerback in the league. So that's going to be the matchup of the game, the wide receivers versus their secondary. But at the end of the day, I think that Philly just has a little bit more on offense right now than what the Packers have on defense. And I think that it's a close one. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I think Philly pulls this close game out in the end.
All right, it's unfortunate, but Coach, I do want to circle this back to Washington. We traded players apparently. Well, not really in the sense that Bobby Wagner did play in LA for a little while. Cam goes to LA, of course, to play with the Rams. But you as a coach, somebody like Bobby Wagner, what do you see with Bobby, and what does he bring to Washington? This is going to be the first time that we see him. He hasn't played in the preseason, obviously being a vet, but what do you see him adding to Washington's defense, along with Joe Witt Jr. being the defensive coordinator? I'm not sure if you've seen his press conferences, but the dude is a freaking maniac talking about jumping dudes and stuff. So I want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, The only thing with Bobby, Bobby Wagner's a beast, man. But the only question mark anybody has with Bobby Wagner right now is age. Football. If football years is like dog years, man. They call 28-year-olds old in the NFL.
Mhm.
Yeah.
26, 27-year-olds old. So if Bobby hasn't lost a step, he's adding a lot to that defense. Not only the experience, Washington hasn't had that kind of experience on the linebacker core in a while. Somebody,
Yeah.
like that, energetic, a natural leader. So I'm excited to see how that's going to affect the defense. That's one of the things I want to see, because when you got that kind of experience and that kind of knowledge in the middle, it helps those guys behind them,
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot. So you'll get better play out of the DBs when you have a solid linebacker core like that.
Absolutely agree with you, sir. Hall, this next game, we don't really need to spend too much time talking about this one, but Carolina going to New Orleans. How do you think that game's going to go?
Yeah, people are going to be surprised because I was a Derek Carr guy leading up when,
Huge Derek Carr guy.
but I was a Derek Carr guy when we needed a
Trench
quarterback.
coat mafia. Yeah, you were all about it.
But he's not even really that bad. He was one of the best quarterbacks to finish the year out last year, honestly. But um, yeah, I think obviously Carolina, new coaching staff. They brought in Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. Bryce Young, we'll see if he can take the. I can't even say that next step because he didn't really take a step last year. Let's see if he can actually look like a competent NFL quarterback this year under Canales, the new coach, who obviously coached up Baker Mayfield last year. So,
Michael.
surprisingly, I actually like the Panthers in this game. I think that they're going to beat the
Hmm.
Saints, upset them week one, and I think that the Saints are on a fast track to firing their head coach and starting Spencer Rattler at some point this year, and probably moving off of Derek Carr and maybe even Alvin Kamara, who doesn't have a new contract as well. So, might be a whole new rebuild after this year down there in New Orleans. And so, I think that starting off that rebuild will be Carolina week one, beating them.
I just think New Orleans defense is too good, man. I back in the
I
pre.
agree. It's just I just think something with New Orleans is going to be like that surprise. Not really that surprise, like bad team this year, but because a lot of people think they're going to be bad. I just think that with the talent that New Orleans had, they're going to be the disappointment of the year. I think.
I got you. Yeah, I back in the pre-draft, I was saying Pete Werner was the best Ohio State linebacker on their team, and obviously he got a contract in this offseason. I think he's one heck of a linebacker. They got other guys there, adding John Ridgeway in the middle there. I think that they are a well-built overall team.
Yeah.
They have the playmakers on the outside, the running back position. I think Carolina is kind of just lacking overall, but maybe if they do play team football, and Canales has them coming out, but at New Orleans opening weekend, I think that place is going to be rowdy. I think Bryce Young is going to be shaking a little bit. So I'll go with New Orleans to win this game. What about you, Coach?
I was picking New Orleans on this one too, but man, the fact that Paul said Spencer Rattler might get the starting job before the easy season. Yeah, the coach need to be fired if we get to the point where Spencer Rattler is going to start starting. I still ain't sold on Spencer Rattler being a professional quarterback yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Rattler a couple years ago when he was, a freshman, sophomore, before Caleb went to Oklahoma. I was
Yeah.
all over that arm strength, obviously, and it's one of those things that maybe the one guy, just like the Brock Purdy kind of draft, but I honestly don't see that happening with how many quarterbacks were selected. And I think Fred Smoot was on the Command Center or the Get Loud podcast, and he made a great point talking about how many starts these rookie quarterbacks have had in college, like over 50, each one of them. And so he's saying, could this be one of the best draft classes of quarterbacks in a long time? And I honestly, I think there's a possibility for that because what's the Bill Parcells way of doing it? Like you have to have so many starts under your belt kind of thing. And I think that's probably one thing that's helping out a lot of these young quarterbacks. So it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And look, all you need to see is Derek Carr crying on the sidelines. It's time to pull the plug. Now, the next question, next game, Coach, Minnesota versus the Giants.
Man, I hope I don't offend nobody by saying this, but the Giants is trash. So I mean, Minnesota
Offend them
easily.
all.
Minnesota easily, man, easily.
It's just Justin Jefferson is just too much to contain, huh, Coach?
Yeah, yeah,
It's funny because that quarterback situation in Minnesota does not help them whatsoever, in my personal opinion. TJ Hawkinson isn't there. They added Aaron Jones in the
yeah.
offseason. Obviously, all they have is Justin Jefferson. Addison is suspended for, I think, performance enhancing drugs, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of weird to say. In that defense, you're like that cornerback room. I do not feel good with, but this is probably the best game for them to open up with as a
Oh
defense
yeah,
going against
yeah.
Daniel Jones. And obviously Malik Neighbors could definitely go off on that secondary. I think that this is going to be like a crazy shootout for both teams. But I think the Giants squeak it out like 16-13 or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again,
That
I
was
don't
a
want to.
stupid joke saying it was a shootout in 16-13, but then it
Yeah,
went right over
yeah.
Hall's head.
Went over my head. It did honestly went right over my head. Yeah, I think this is gonna be again one of those games where I hate to say it, but I think the Giants pull this one out. Brian Daboll is going back to calling plays this year, and we saw what he did with Daniel Jones. I guess 2 years ago at this point or whatever it was. Whenever he was calling the plays, it was heavy on the run game, heavy on the quarterback run game, heavy on getting the ball out of his hands really quickly, and that was with no weapons. In now you got a guy like Malik Neighbors who has a chance to be a top 10, top 15 wide receiver this year if Daniel Jones can actually get him the ball and Dayball can actually scheme him open and stuff like that. Um,
But Dayball does
yeah,
have really good experience with running quarterbacks. Josh Allen, of course, and
exactly. He's the one that developed Josh Allen when a
right.
lot of people were saying that he couldn't really throw. He was just all like power in his throws, not really like that finesse layered thrower. And he helped Josh Allen become Josh Allen, who he is now. So, yeah, I know everyone's going to poop on the Giants, which rightfully so. Their team is pretty bad, but that defense, especially that front four, I think is going to be a problem for Sam Darnold. I have faith that Kevin O'Connell can get the offense up and running because he's a really good offensive coach, really good quarterback coach. You've seen what he did with Josh Dobbs, Jaron Hall, guys like that are not as talented as a guy like Sam Darnold. So I do think when you got a guy like Justin Jefferson on your offense, you're always going to have a chance. I like Aaron Jones in the backfield. I just think that the defense for the Giants is going to be a little bit better than the Vikings offense. So I give the Giants that one.
Yeah, like Deontay Banks was like talking crap, saying he was getting ready for Justin Jefferson. Like, oh, lucky you, man. Like obviously it's not. I'm just saying it's easy to talk crap when
Hey, look,
that's what you're going
I
against a
like
quarterback play. All
exactly.
I'm
I like
saying.
my Maryland guy. That's a Maryland guy. Shout out to him. But again, like you said, you got Sam Darnold throwing in the ball. So like, is it
He's gonna
really?
puff. He's gonna pump his chest out after the game
Oh, of
too. Watch.
course.
Now,
It'll be an overthrow, and he'll be, like
I'd be doing the same thing.
nobody can catch him. Like, what are you doing?
He'd be doing the Benjamin St. Juice thing. Like, Coach, next question I have for you. Obviously, one of Cam's good friends of the team, Derek Forrest. I know you were close with Mr. Forrest as well. He made the squad. A lot of people were questioning if he was even going to make the 53. Me, personally, I did not think so. I knew he was a backup safety. But him, Emmanuel Forbes, Benjamin St. Juice, how do you think that this secondary is going to do with this kind of staff? Having Jason Simmons, bringing him over from Las Vegas, he did a great job with the Raiders secondary last season. Adding him in with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., I think that this is a really good situation for those guys. How do you feel that they'll do?
I think they'll do pretty good with the fact, like we was talking earlier about, the addition of Bobby Wagner. When you have guys that you can feel comfortable with covering, with that middle, then it allows those guys in the back to play their true positions and worry about just what they got to do. So I think we'll be able to get to see some of those guys really flourish this year because they'll be able to just, play their position and not have to be, might not have to be in the box as often, or might not have to be, taking on linebacker roles and such. But I think they'll do pretty good. Like you said, he had that coach. He had the Raiders secondary looking pretty decent. So I'm excited to see. And then under Dan Quinn's tutelage from the top all the way down, he's a defensive minded coach. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, Defoe is he fits the bill for what they
Yeah,
like personally.
he's a monster, man. And he ain't scared to hit. He'll take on he'll lower his shoulder. He was one of the dump brothers. I used to call them the dump brothers because they used to dump running backs, man.
My man. Now, the next game that we got, Coach, Cincinnati going against Pittsburgh. Or, no, sorry. New England going against Cincinnati in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Yeah, I just think that offense is going to be too much for them to be able to contain. They gonna air it out. I think Cincinnati gonna look real good come game one.
I will say that the deciding factor is if Mayo comes out with the sleeveless sweatshirt, the gray one like Belichick did. If he comes out like that, it's on. And he actually
It's
might be
on.
able yeah,
It's on there,
he's
yeah.
calling a great defense today. You better watch out. But I agree with you. I think Cincinnati overall, the weapons that they have there, they are just locked and loaded. And defensively, they could obviously get better in some areas, but I think that they have the right thing humming at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
Joe Burrow changed his hairstyle like Eminem. He says everyone does a better blonde. I hope that's the case, Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, New England's probably going to be one of the worser teams in the league this year. Probably like bottom 3, 4 teams in the league this year. Jamar Chase is pissed that he didn't get his contract, so I can definitely see him coming out, going for like a $150 and 2 touchdowns. I think Joe Burrow's going to come out and try to make a statement, throw for like 350, a couple touchdowns, and try to say, "This is our year to get back to the Super Bowl and win it." So this is a easy task for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, dude. I feel bad because of my boy Jacoby Brissett. He finally deserves a starting and have his own team, and it's just unfortunate the kind of situation he's walking
Throwing
into.
that man into like a crash dummy.
Yeah.
Bad
I
offensive
know.
line, no weapons around. Bad offensive line. Defense is kind of rebuilding. Got rid of the best pass rusher. I like Jacoby. I like the brisket, but it's gonna be tough for my guy.
Yeah, risk it for the biscuit. Now, the next game that we have, Hall. This actually could be one of the better matchups of the weekend. Pittsburgh versus Atlanta.
Yeah, never gonna count out a Mike Tomlin coach team, even with the offense kind of question marks around that, especially the quarterback position. Kirk Cousins' debut down in Atlanta, high flying or supposed to be a high flying offense. We'll see. I'm not. A lot of people have been sicing Drake London. I've never been the biggest Drake London fan, but we'll see what he does with a, a better quarterback than Desmond Ritter, your guy Kyle. Um, this is a tough
Bring it on
one.
me.
Tough one. Tough one to call. I think that no Kyle Pitts more than likely with a hamstring injury. That helps helps Pittsburgh's a little bit better. I wanna give the Falcons the win because of the offense, and I'm an offensive guy. But I think T.J. Watt's coming for the Defensive Player of the Year this year, and I think he starts that campaign against the Falcons. Probably a low-scoring game, but I think that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers want, a low-scoring kind of rock fight type of game. So I'll go Pittsburgh in a low-scoring game.
I think that you're right about T.J. Watt and being the Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's just going to wait a week. I think Atlanta is well built. And they added a lot defensively as well. Simmons, they added to their backfield and their secondary.
Really forgot about that.
They're a good team, and they're really trying to take a hold of that division. They see blood in the water. They're going after it. With Pittsburgh, they're kind of adding a bunch of different things that haven't worked before, and hopefully it does work for them. But it looks like without Jalen Warren, they're going to be throwing Najee Harris at a brick wall every time. Not sure if that's going to be working well for Russell Wilson, but I don't think he has the same magic as before. If he did, I would give him a chance. But in Atlanta, I got Atlanta taking it. What about you, Coach?
In Atlanta, I'm thinking it's going to be a close one. I think Atlanta might pull it off. It's going to be close, but I would have had them winning, convincingly, at least by a touchdown, if Pitts was going to be available and they was going to be using the tight end as much. But I don't know. This one is because Pittsburgh has kind of got me kind of scared right now with all the changes and what's going on, and the two-headed monster quarterback situation and everything. So I got Atlanta probably pulling this one out, at the end. I don't see it being no high-scoring game. I'm thinking maybe 14-12, or give up, maybe 2 touchdowns versus 2 field goals or something like that. It'll be low scoring.
Yeah, and Raheem Morris being the new coach there, obviously defensively. I think they added the weapons offensively. They already had a plethora available with Bijan and Drake London, and obviously Pitts being out. But Darnell Mooney also on that offense. I think they're explosive. But boys, the next question I have for you, Coach. Sam Cosmi just inked up a huge deal today, 4 year, $74 million contract. I mean, it's kind of crazy because everyone was kind of on a prove it deal, but I think Sam Cosmi at this point has proven to everybody that he is worth that money.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think he's proven that he's worth it, and proven not only that he's earned it, but he's going to earn it also. I don't see him declining no time soon. So
No, and he even said in his presser today, he's like, "This isn't like me making it. I still got to prove it every single day," which is the hard
yeah,
hat mentality, and that's exactly what you want to bring. But let's get into some rapid fire, boys. Coach, how much longer do you have for us?
hey, as long as it takes.
Let's get in rapid fire real quick before we get into fan questions, because we got to talk about the squad, man. They got the first opening game matchup, and I don't want to go through everybody. It's just I don't really feel like it, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just being real. I'm a coach. The colonel asked us where the other day. I wasn't able to get it in on time, but where are we going to be watching the game at going against the Bucks, and what kind of food will be at hand, Hall?
I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't really sorted out where I'm gonna watch it. I wish that Germantown still had the Green Turtle because they got this deal right now where you pay 20, kind of like the Hard Times deal back in the day, except the Green Turtle one's better. You pay $20 and you can get like they give you like a Miller Light cup, like maybe like a 12 or 16 ounce cup, whatever it is, and basically you can just keep refilling it, endless beer throughout the whole day, and you get to pick from like 5 or 6 different appetizers they have on the list. So $20, you get endless beer and an appetizer. So can't really beat that deal if you're gonna sit in a bar and watch football all day. But me personally, can't do that no more. I wish I could. So I'll probably just go to my mom's house and just chill out, watch it there.
My man. Yeah, I'm just gonna be at the house. I would imagine. I'm gonna try to pick up the game. Being at 4:30 at Hull, I would hope you're not going to drink endless beers starting at 4:30. Definitely not showing
Oh
up
no,
for
I would
work on
go to like
Monday.
the 1 o'clocks and like me because Gavin always goes there. That's how I met him. But
My
I,
man.
if I was, I would go to there at the 1 o'clocks. But that's what I'm saying. If I had a 1 o'clock game, I would think about it. But I can't go there at 1, and then by the time 4:30 comes around, I keep drinking. I might not even make it home. So
I'm with you. What kind of food we'll be eating? I'm not 100% sure. We'll see what the kiddies want and everything like that. We made homemade pizza last night. It was pretty good, but I don't think that'll be lasting until Sunday. I'm not sure, man. I'm not all that much into like grilling and all that before these games. There's so much going on with the kids. It's hard to be able to like
I
actually
could
sit down.
imagine.
Yeah, actually sit down and prep and be able to get wings or stuff like. Because if I'm doing anything, I'm doing wings, like ribs, something like that. If I had the money for them, because dude, you can never go wrong with some ribs. What about you, Coach? What are you gonna do for the LA game on Monday? What do you got? What do you got situated?
You say on Monday?
it's on
Yeah,
Sunday
no,
night.
Sunday night. My
Oh,
bad.
oh,
I'm
Sunday night. I plan on being there.
No
Hey,
way.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
plan on being in Detroit at the game. Yep.
No
That's what's
way.
up.
Yes, sir.
Have you looked up their menu at all?
I don't know. Whatever it is. I'm on a diet because I'll be in the Bahamas for my birthday in February, and I plan on going topless.
Hall is so jealous, Coach, because all he talks about vacation is he just wants to see through blue water,
Bro,
a drink in his hand with his feet in the water, and that's all he
Hey,
wants.
it
that's
ain't
what
gonna
I'm
be in a
doing for my
while.
birthday, brother.
Look, I ain't gonna have that in a while either because I got this baby on the way. So
Oh,
them dreams
congrats,
is
congrats.
appreciate it. But them
Hey,
dreams is shot for a while.
so is sleep.
Yes, that too.
That is true. Sleep. Hey, look, you're gonna be going through it, my friend. Just remember,
Hey,
Don't trust me,
you're
I
gonna
know.
start looking like this, Hall.
it already has begun. It already has begun. Next question from the Colonel Hall. How nervous are you that we're starting a virtually unknown kicker on Sunday?
uh, I mean, I'm not that nervous. I wish we still like. Obviously, I wish we had a more polished veteran that would that had a little bit more faith in, that had a bigger resume. But This dude has a big leg. I remember him kicking field goals at LSU. He kicked like a 60-plus yarder or something like that in college at LSU. So yeah, he has a big leg. Kickers are always, unless you're like Justin Tucker or like one of these Evan McPherson, one of these like top 3 to 5 kickers, Elliott up in Philly, that's been doing it forever and like really consistent. Kickers are always going to be iffy as it is. So, I mean, I have as much faith as I would have in any other kicker that's not a Justin Tucker for my team. So, I'm pretty confident, especially if the weather's good. I have confidence that I have confidence that he'll be serviceable at worst.
To be honest, Colonel, like that's the last thing that I'm nervous about going on Sunday. Obviously you should be with the kicker, but with all of these changing parts and new guys coming together and a lot of the veterans not playing in the preseason, you do kind of worry about how everyone's going to gel. First and foremost, I'm very worried about how well we're going to run the football, obviously behind our new well-paid guard and Sam Cosmi. I do have a lot of confidence in him, obviously. But that's one of my biggest concerns is how well we can actually run the football on a play-by-play basis. And that's what I'm really eyeing towards and wanting to figure out. But with kicker, if we're able, we shouldn't be kicking field goals regardless, but this obviously is a good team. If we're kicking field goals, we're not going to be winning the football game. And obviously that is a concern, but I'm tired of settling for field goals and that being a concern. And obviously it should be with a rookie quarterback, but at the end of the day, they're not unbeatable, so to speak. So I would rather let's score some touchdowns. But on the list of priorities for me personally, it's lower on the list for me. I'm not as nervous about it. Would you be, Coach?
No, not so much. No, not especially coming in, this early in the season and with with the weapons you guys have. Like you said, field goals shouldn't be the focus. We scoring touchdowns or extra points. With the guys that they done brought in and everything, that should be more of the focus. Making sure that all these new pieces are gonna fit together and gel together. Because hopefully they got to gel in practice and stuff. Because like you said, a lot of the veterans didn't get to play in the preseason. So hopefully everything fits and gels and get tuned in quickly in game one. Where you don't have to depend on a kicker to keep you in the game or win the game.
Yeah, and Cade York, he's no slouch. Obviously, he's done pretty well. He's more solid. And I think the leg is what you're really dependent on, the stronger leg than we've seen here in the recent weeks. So I don't think it's that much of a concern, honestly. Now the next question. Coach, I'm not sure how up to date you are with Washington, but did you see the James O'Keefe video with this guy in teen?
No, I didn't see that.
So, do you know who James O'Keefe is?
Yes.
So he caught the Commanders' VP of content talking crap about NFL players, saying some NFL players are dumb as dirt. So there's some people in the NFL who are really smart. Washington fans are like uneducated mouth breathers. They're alcoholics and stuff like that. Yeah, he got honeypot. He got honey dicked. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
So Andy Lockhart is asking, how does 18 still have a job, Coach?
I mean, he's wrong for just putting it on one team's fan base, but shit, all football fans are alcoholics, and we're not considered the smartest people on earth because we like to watch grown men crash into each other at full speed. So hey, I don't know.
Coach, you are
it's an opinion.
Absolutely right.
He had an opinion, and he didn't really like. I don't know. I don't think he said something that harmful where it would cause him to lose his job or anything.
See, only a nose breather would say that, Coach. Me personally, I'm a mouth breather myself. But honestly, I thought the whole situation was hilarious because he's calling people uneducated mouth breathers, saying some NFL players are dumb as hell. Meanwhile, he's in the middle of getting honey dicked, and it's like he's just spilling everything, and it's like, oh, karma a little bit playing here. But one of the funniest thing was that NFL fans, Commander fans, have a propensity for violence. Like, do you watch football? Like, of course, everyone is here for violence. This is what this is all about. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, of course they're
Hey,
riled
he
up.
must never been to a Chargers Raiders game. Somebody
Dude,
gets
Right.
stabbed every game, at the
Dude,
Chargers
that's
Raiders.
what I'm
So
saying, coach. It's like this guy, I don't even think he watches football, let alone put on a helmet before. Because one of the funniest things was that he was explaining to her that he's like a content creator, he's like a marketer, all this other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Never even heard of him before. And like the rest of the fan base, like that Conor McGregor meme, he's like, who the fuck is that guy? Like that's
yeah,
exactly what it's like. Who are you? But
yeah.
how does he still have a job? I would question that he isn't going to be having a job much longer. What is that Quentin Tarantino movie with Bruce Willis, Uma Thurman, Pulp Fiction? You remember at the end of Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
when the boss he grabs after getting assaulted, he grabs that bat and he's like, "I'll be let me take care of it." Like that's gonna be
Yeah,
that's gonna be Magic Johnson to 19 when he sees him next. So don't worry, I don't think he's gonna be around much longer.
Yeah, I mean, they already suspended him, so obviously suspended
I don't think he was
indefinitely.
that good anyway.
Yeah, suspended indefinitely means you pretty much fired. Like he's not coming back to the building. His key cards have probably already been canceled out.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, the dude's getting wiped out. And like you said, no one knew who this guy was. Literally, if you put him in a lineup and said, "This is our VP of content creator," and put 10 people in a line, I don't know. Sure, it's that guy right there. I don't know. So, dude's an idiot, and clearly, like you said, he's a dumb person because the lady wasn't even like asking like the questions in like just regular conversation and like flowing with conversation. She was literally sounding like a reporter asking you questions, and
Right.
you sitting there down in drinks, just spilling all the tea like an idiot. Like
Roger Goodell's
so,
a $50 million
and
puppet.
it's funny. It's funny because he's talking about like all NFL fans are alcoholics and da 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 da. If you watch
And
that
he,
video, the man had at least 3 to 4 drinks in his hand, different drinks in his hand, while he's sitting there talking to this lady. So, who's the alcoholic, buddy?
No, it's funny because he said that Jerry Jones is actually the one running the NFL. It's like, well,
Yeah.
stating the obvious there, pal.
And that's the thing. Like some of his comments were like Coach said, like it's not. It's like whatever. The dude's just dumb. But like the comments about the commissioner and
You,
Jerry Jones not liking black people, that's
yeah,
where it's like, all right, bro,
I thought it
you're
was
done.
so funny that that comes out, and then Jerry Jones announces that he had an interview with Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all kind of funny in my personal opinion. But look, we don't need to get back to the negatives. It was funny. Let's put that in the past. But the next question in the Discord, Coach Tim Towner asks: over or under? Will Washington win over or under 6.5 games?
yeah, I think so. I think the floor is 7.
The floor is 7. You're speaking my language, Coach. You know how to make me happy, man. Look, I think the prediction game
I
this.
mean, but the ceiling is 8. So
Oh, come on, man! You just gotta shoot me down. Shoot me down. All because I'm a mouth breather. It's just so unfortunate.
hey, and win the division.
Thank
8
you.
wins and
There
a
you go.
divisional win.
But then
That
it
would be
comes with the
crazy.
excuse that the division sucks. That's the only reason we won, and it's still, I don't want to go through all
Oh
that.
yeah,
I'd rather beat them at their best. But like, I find the prediction game so funny because it's a week by week basis. You
yeah,
know, like with Minnesota, for example, like they don't have Sam Darnold back there. They don't have T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. That's not the same as what Minnesota is going to be looking like in Week 10, right? And so
yeah.
I think the prediction game is funny. So all I'll
Oh
say is
yeah,
they have the ability to win well over 6.5 games. What is the likelihood that they actually do? I'm not 100% sure. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I think this team, the way that they are built, having Bobby Wagner as the quarterback on defense, I think they can easily win over 6.5 games. And that should be the expectation. I know this is a young team in the sense of what everything being brought together. Jayden Daniels, rookie quarterback. But we've seen magic happen before. And obviously that was short lived. But I think the way that this coaching staff is built, having Anthony Lynn at running backs coach, Cliff is OC, having Jason Simmons DBs, Joe Witt Jr., Dan Quinn, I think all the pieces just make sense, and I think that it's easily obtainable.
Yeah, I mean, like if they stay relatively healthy and no like crazy injuries and stuff like that, I think that at minimum they should probably win 6, 7 games, somewhere around there. Like that's basically the floor. I think that if you're a 4 win team, even like a 5 win team, somewhere around there or less than that, then pretty much like it's kind of like last year where it's like a dead, like a not dead, but a lame duck coach or like a lame duck regime, or you're just getting horrible quarterback play, or the team is giving up on the coach, or you're having drama in the locker room, stuff like that, where you just completely collapse down the stretch and you only win 4 games or less, 5 games or less throughout the season. So I think at minimum, just with a whole like a, and you can't even really put last year's like 4-win team on this team because like only 13 or 22, whatever it is, start or people from the last year's team are on this team this year. So I think that Jayden Daniels, the offense, the defense, the coaching is all going to play a factor. So the minimum that they should win is probably 6 games. But I think if they can stay relatively healthy, Jayden Daniels has a pretty good year, and defense play at a top half of the league level. I think they can probably get to probably 9 wins, 9-8.
All right. Now, Hall, this next question is perfect for you, presented by Arch. What are your thoughts on Mina Kimes' comments on Devontae Adams? Which was that she could see Washington being in the market and getting Devontae Adams if they have a winning record by week 8. What do you say to that, Hall? What are your thoughts?
I say that I like Mina. She's very smart. Love her content. Love the stuff that she puts out there.
Brilliant
NFL
woman.
Live, all
Brilliant
that.
woman.
Brilliant. Smart as hell. Smart as hell. She doesn't really have a pulse for this team because I remember her talking on her podcast a couple months back, and she was talking about Dan Quinn could be on the hot seat if we get off to a slow start. The dude literally just got hired 6 months ago. He's on the hot seat. Like, come on. New regime change, new GM. Why would he be on the hot seat in year one if they get off to a slow start with their rookie quarterback in a retooling type of year? So,
Diversion tactic. That's all it was.
but about her comments on Adams, like, obviously, I would love Devontae Adams to be on my team. Top 5, top 10 receiver. Still to this day, even though he's getting up there in age. But I just look at it like, first of all, the dude trashed the whole DMV area, like on St. Brown's podcast for no reason, just out of left field. Just came out and said he hates our stadium, hates our fan base, pretty much just hates everything about the DMV.
That's why you
Very
need to
weird.
come here and embrace it and help it, man.
Very, very weird take for a guy that lives on the West Coast and Green Bay for most of his career, but whatever. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm sure that Las Vegas would, even though there would be like, oh, we're trying to start over, start fresh, whatever, da 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 da. I think that they're going to be in the quarterback market next year for a guy like Dak Prescott or whatever free agent quarterbacks on the market next year. You're going to need that number one receiver, that legit true number one on the outside to be like, hey, this is a reason why you should come to our team. Like, we already have the guy established. We're building our offense around you and him, da 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 da. And I just think that if they didn't make a move for Brandon Ayuk, who is, I know the contract would be like cheaper or whatever it is, but he's younger than Devontae Adams. It would probably cost the same, if not like less, because outside of like Terry McLaurin or like a receiver, whatever it is. But I'm sure they're going to ask for like a first or second round pick for Devontae Adams. So he's an older player and he already hates the area for like no reason. So I would say no. Long story short.
He probably loves us now. Okay, there's been a change. It's been a while since that's happened. We got Jayden Daniels. We have
He
Magic
literally
Johnson.
just said it like this year.
We got Magic Johnson. Everything is cool, man. We're gonna be good to go. And honestly, he doesn't have a say in it. And I think if you ask Devontae, I think Devontae would be willing to work for it. So what are my thoughts on Mina Kimes' comments?
To that point, though, he doesn't have a say. Him and Antonio Pierce are like this. So, like, you think Antonio Pierce is going to ship him anywhere that he doesn't want to go to? Like,
Antonio Pierce doesn't have a say in the matter. Tom Brady co-owns the team, bro. You're gone.
he don't got a say in it. If he had a say in it, he'd be like, I'm coming back and I'm playing with Devontae.
No. What I'll say is I think it's a brilliant comment and prediction from Mina Kimes. I think that we should be all over that sort of thing. Devontae is this type of guy that has the size, the build, and the catch radius that you're really looking for to add for a rookie quarterback. And because of his age, because of where he is in his career, I think that you can get away with offering less than you would if for somebody who's high tier already, younger, like you said with Brandon Ayuk, and it wouldn't require as much assets and capital in order to acquire it. The Raiders looking to maybe retool. I know you brought up Dak Prescott coming to Las Vegas, but you need as much money as you can to attract somebody like Dak Prescott there, and so you got to be able to unload that contract. Do you have any comments on this, Coach?
Hey, that would be wonderful for Devontae to end up there, but I'm going back to what Hall said on what he said. Then plus, you know, uh, it would have to be. I don't think they could be able to lowball him, even with his age, because of the. You got to look at the market in Vegas. You know, what he might not get in contract in Vegas, he might be able to get in endorsements. You know what I'm saying? With so many different opportunities with the casinos and so many businesses there and everything like that. So he's at the end of his career, so he may be thinking, long money instead of quick bread and am I going to do something and whether I can maximize this last few years or last year I have in my career. So I mean, it sounds good for Mina Kimes, and I love Mina Kimes because she always showing Cam love.
Yeah.
Brilliant
Look,
woman. Brilliant woman.
on
That
top
woman.
of like the contract thing, because I was just like looking into this earlier, because I was like, let me actually see what his contract is. He has no more guaranteed money after this year, so you think he's going to be looking for more money, some type of restructure? So like that's my point, where it's like the contract is good now, but why would you give a contract to an older receiver that you just gave up draft picks for if you could have done that with San Francisco for a younger receiver?
Because it'd be more
True.
expensive.
No.
Yeah, would he's at top? He's lower. Lower in age. He gets $30 million per year. Devontae being at the end of his career would not. It would not warrant a $30 million
Did you
contract.
watch the wide receiver Netflix show?
Yeah,
That man is gonna. He's confident in himself to be like, I'm still a top five guy.
yeah.
You're gonna pay me like a top five guy.
So come over here and earn it, because you're not gonna be able to do a Gardner Minshew. I'll tell you that right now. Look, I love Gardner, but I love Gardner Minshew. Let's wrap this up pretty quickly, boys. Hall, real quick. What does it mean to be a commander from Deluxe?
um, if you look at the Sam Cosmi and what he embodies as a player, toughness, the grit, kind of just the blue collar, put your hard hat on, come to work. Um, physical, like I said, just that physical tough mentality, and yeah, a guy that you would want in your corner if you were in a dark alley. A kind of guy that's gonna have your back no matter what, fight with you to the end. I think that and obviously you have to have like the skill set and like be a all around just like not only good football player but just a good person. And I think that that's what Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have been building. That's the type of guys that they drafted. And yeah, we'll see how that progresses through their tenure.
Uh, it means to be underappreciated, not to be in the spotlight. You just keep working hard, and you show the mentality every single day to come to work, be able to give it your all, and work hard. And I think that's basically what it is. And I think that epitomizes with Jayden Daniels himself. You've really seen that come into fruition with what he's done through his progression. So I think with the commander, it's like Hall said, the hard hat worker mentality. It's like the Jon Snow kind of aspect where you're not the glorified.
You got to be a bastard.
Basically, the island of misfit toys is what I call it over here with everyone that they've acquired, and I really do believe in that. And so I think that being a Jon Snow, basically, just going to work every day, doing your thing, and being a hard-nosed, great individual, and you'll be able to be a
You
commander.
got to protect the wall.
I got you. I got you. Next question, Coach, from Chris Comerton. Are people underestimating the Giants' defense, especially NFC East fans? I personally think their defense has the potential to be special.
I don't see that just the defense is being underestimated. I think the defense can still be respected, but if it don't, if you can't compliment the defense, if the defense don't get a chance to rest, I really
We've
don't.
seen that.
That talent start to diminish when you're tired and you always on the field, and that's what I can see happening at New York. I don't see the offense giving the defense a chance to recover, or if you leave it all on the defense, they can't score all the points too. They got to get the ball and all that. So I think the defense is respected and not overlooked. But I think the fact that people are thinking that the offense is so horrible that it doesn't matter how good the defense is going to be this year.
I'm not really sure if people are underestimating the Giants' defense. I think they get it. They get enough smoke up their rear end more than they deserve at times. In my personal opinion, Mara does a great job of kind of swaying those sort of things. No, I don't think so. We'll see how they play out. What about you all?
Yeah, I don't think NFC East fans or just fans in general are underestimating that defense.
It's just the
They were a
team
good,
in general, right?
yeah, they were a good defense last year with Dexter Lawrence and I mean Thibodeau. Only really plays good against us, but Thibodeau and we talked about what's his name from Maryland, the cornerback that was
Deontay Banks.
yeah Deontay Banks. So I mean they already had a pretty good defense, stout defense, and then you trade for a guy like Brian Burns who can get you double digit sacks off the edge. So. Um, I wouldn't say they can be special. Like I guess it could technically be special, like as far as like points allowed and stuff like that, turnovers maybe. But like Coach said, if you don't got the offense to complement the defense and give them a breather and let them have time to like make adjustments on the sidelines and whatnot, then that defensive talent is not going to be used to its potential because they're going to be tired all the time. They're going to be playing from behind all the time. So
We just went
yeah, I
through
think
that 2 years in a row.
exactly, exactly. So I think they'll be good. I think they'll be top half of the league. I think they'll be maybe even like a top 10 or 12 unit. But I just think that no one's really overlooking them, and special is like reserved for like the Ravens of last year or like I don't know, one of those like elite defenses you look at and say they're going to hold you to less than 21 points a game.
Right, it's gonna be hard to do that if you're constantly on the field. Now,
Right.
rapid fire, boys. Wrap up this episode, Coach from Yam Sensei. I heard that through practices and preseason, Cliff's plays were overall offense were eerily similar to what he ran and how he utilized player positions, routes, etc. in Arizona. Won't this possibly be a detriment already to our offense if coaches and opponents are already so familiar with his plans out of the gate? Or does that even matter since it's different players?
Nah, I mean, nah, I don't really think it's gonna be detrimental. I'm a Cliff Kingsbury fan. I think he gonna be able to use Jayden Daniels. I mean, that's perfect fit. He got the perfect coach for the perfect quarterback, I think, in the NFL right now. And he knows how to use a guy who is mobile with a nice arm and got a few weapons to throw it to. He's gonna know how to use that offense. So I really don't think it's gonna be a detriment. I think it's gonna be more detrimental to the people playing against Cliff Kingsbury
Yes.
because you know what he's gonna do,
Thank
and
you.
then it's gonna be a whole different thing hit you in the mouth.
Absolutely, coach. I wholeheartedly agree. I actually think it's an asset going in
Yes,
thinking that he's going to go with the shallow game, everything short, 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 and then using the mobility. Yeah, you think that until Jayden keeps that ball and chucks it to Terry 30 yards downfield
for
or
real.
Diami or Luke McCaffrey, who are deep kind of targets. And so I think that kind of fits and helps Cliff Kingsbury to start out the season. It's much more so once you start getting down the line and the grind starts getting into you a little bit when you have to make those adjustments. But I think that you have the perfect combination of the strong arm, great accuracy quarterback with his mobility, adding it with Cliff Kingsbury, who's kind of shown that with Kyler before, who's kind of limited in the arm category. So I think, like Coach said, it's a really good situation.
Hey, just to add to that, like you were saying, that's what he's gonna, yeah, you probably gonna see some of that little short, quick game up front just to get them DBs up,
Yep.
and to say that I watched a video about Diggs over with the Cowboys. They was trying to, it was a video to prove why he should have been in the Pro Bowl, All Pro. Every play he lined up against Terry McLaurin, he got burnt. He made a good defensive play because the ball was underthrown every time.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's what I'm waiting to see. Because now there's a quarterback with an arm. Man, Terry finna show out, man. Terry finna show out. This is probably gonna be
Love
Terry's
Coach.
best year in the NFL as a receiver, and he already has crazy numbers. So, man, this is gonna solidify his Hall of Fame vote when he decide to retire.
Yeah, he's going to retire a
Watch.
commander. That's what I'm saying, Coach. Now, hey, Hall, last question we have from Alec. I was in my local news agents yesterday and picked up Lindy's Pro Football Magazine. They have us down as finishing fourth in the division. Do you think that's justified? I think we can definitely go on better this year. What are your thoughts?
If we finish fourth in the division again behind this Giants team that everyone's been clowning all off season, that everyone says that this regime, or at least this regime minus Dayball, is probably going to be out of there next year. Daniel Jones is not going to be there in New York next year. If we finish fourth behind them with a worse record again, then I would say it's a disappointing season because that means that Jayden Daniels, like I said, to be worse than the Giants, you're probably going to have 5 or less wins. If you're in that 5 or less wins category, you either had a major injury or injuries, or you had bad to horrible quarterback play. So hopefully none of those things come to fruition, especially the quarterback play part, because I think a lot of people are excited for Jayden, rightfully so, because he's a guy that puts the work in, obviously, and he's a good leader. And I think that he's going to be good for this offense. And I think that Cliff's going to play to his players' strengths, just like the defensive coaching staff, like Joe Witt and those guys are going to do. So I do think that, yeah, that's it.
Now,
Lost my
what
train of thought.
what does Lindsay's know? They don't know anything. Picking us fourth, piling on us. Who are they? In team?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't like it is what it is with the whole national perception of us. Like everyone knows it's a whole new regime, new quarterback, whatever, da da da. But we're still going to be looked at as the same old Washington until we prove them wrong and actually start consistently doing things the right way and winning games and whatnot. So it is what it is. Come week 6 or 8 or whatever it is, if they still have us finishing fourth in the division, then who knows? But I think come by week 6 to 8, 7, 8, halfway through the season, people are going to be looking at this team like, okay, they're taking the right steps in the direction, and who knows? We could finish between second in the division this year. That was because fully collapsed.
That was my prediction. I was thinking at worst third. There's no way you can finish fourth. I
Right.
don't. The Giants are probably gonna go 0-4 in the division.
My man.
So they probably ain't gonna beat nobody. Washington, I'm predicting Washington to either only come in behind Philly, and if they do any worse than that, it'll be a split with Dallas. I don't see. I can't see Dallas beating Washington twice, not with the new offense. So, at least, I think they should be able to get them both times. But at worst, it'll be a split with Dallas. And Philly will probably be the hardest. And the only reason I say Philly will probably be the hardest game, I'm just waiting to see how the run defense is going to look with Washington. If there's a pretty strong run defense established, I think the season will be. I think everybody will leave happy this season. All Washington Commander fans will leave happy if they establish a decent enough run defense this year.
My man. And to wrap this up, boys, let's just do real quick our predictions for the game against the Buccaneers. I feel like we can't leave without doing it. Coach, how do you feel that's going to go on Sunday?
Uh, man, I I'm gonna give my full prediction. I think JD gonna go for 346 yards,
Whoa.
four. Nah, I give him 3 passing touchdowns, and he gonna run one.
Coach,
Bro.
I'm pitching right now, bro.
We're going streaking.
What I think they gonna come out and be like, "Oh, we finna run." I think that offense is gonna be clicking, and it's gonna punch him in the mouth, and it's gonna just keep going. Keep going, and it's gonna have the defense so hyped. Seeing them boys scoring fast and having fun out there. I think it's gonna. I mean, I want Jay Daniels to be rookie of the
Man,
year.
Coach,
if
I'll
that
be
happens,
naked
man,
after
you
the
better
game.
if that happens, you better clear the streets. There's going to be a Super Bowl parade coming down Washington
Yeah,
D.C.
we gotta
Watch, man.
we
Hey,
gotta
watch.
record a
Hey.
we gotta record a post game. So I hope I'm not naked for that one. But like I think Washington does win. And look, you can call me Homer all you want and everything like that. I just really like what they have built here. And going against the Bucks, obviously they do have a good defensive line. They have good
Yeah.
secondary members. But I think that with Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler out of the backfield, combined with the tight ends that we do have and the defensive guys we've added here, that we can win it. If we win the turnover battle, we can win the game. But that's the most important aspect is if the offense does not turn over the football, I think we have a really good chance to win this game. I said it a while back. I think Jayden throws 200 yards, has a touchdown pass, and then possibly or has one running, and then Brian Robinson, Eckler possibly chewing up something in that regard. But I think running the football is going to be the real
Man,
key
they're gonna
here.
score at least 4 touchdowns.
Dude, don't make me happy, man.
Yeah, no, I think the key to the game is going to be able to run the ball and control the ball on offense. Not run the ball like all the time, but control the ball on offense and um, the time of possession game is going to be key to keep Mike Evans and Chris Godwin off the field. And like you said, I think that they're going to play aggressive. They're going to be just like Todd Bowles is going to be trying to play aggressively against Jayden Daniels and kind of show him blitzes from everywhere throughout the field. I think Dan Quinn and Joe Witt are going to do the same thing. I think they're going to be aggressive getting after Baker. And I think that it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a fist fight. I got Washington pulling it out by 2 points. And I'll go with Jayden throwing for 240 and running for 60. So 300 yards total, 2 touchdowns. And we win the turnover battle.
Put that in a parlay.
Win by 2 points. I'll go 27, 20. Okay, that's 3 points. 27, 24.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this episode. If you made it this far, you're freaking champion. Coach, it's good to see you again, man. It's good to talk with you.
And yes, the Rams will beat the Lions Sunday night.
I was going to ask you, what you think for the Sunday night game?
Oh, yeah. They're going to beat them by, I think the score is going it's not going to be that high. It'll be 21-14 with the defense, with Cam getting the pick, giving the ball back to the offense to take the lead.
Hey, that'd be lit.
Dude, that would be lit. You know how happy he'd be to do that. Coach, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. For real.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man.
You miss us
It's
at all?
always love.
Pass that thing, Coach.
And then, yeah, if we do play you guys over here in Washington, make sure you do travel over here to be able to see us. All right, Coach?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this episode. We'll see you post-game against the Bucks. After that game, we'll be going and recording, so make sure you guys tune in then. Can't thank you guys enough. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
Coach Greg.
And we'll see you guys on Sunday night. Washington football. Woo!
Peace.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.